That was another question. Where do you get your best tabla?
Actually, there are many. First of all, where do you get your good tablas? People say, okay, that tabla maker is a very good tabla maker, or that tabla maker is a great tabla maker. As far as I'm concerned, I swear by this guy, or I swear by that guy, and so on. I think tabla making ability is a two-way street. It's not only the tabla maker, but also the tabla player. And the reason why I say that is because my father used to have his tablas made by a tabla maker known as Sadanand Appa Kashikar. He used to be in Mumbai, and there was a tabla shop on Leamington Road in Mumbai, just like a hole in the wall. And we would go there, and they put out a stool for my father to sit on the street while Sadanand would work on his tablas. But the need or the reason for going there was that when it came the time to put the siyahi on, which is the very important element that makes the tone and the tuning of the instrument appear, it was important for my father to be there. And then as the layers of the siyahi were put on, Sadanand ji would give my father the tabla. He would test it and say ek aur goli, or test it and say, okay, take a little bit of this end, or take a little bit of that end, or rub it in a little bit harder, and or it's not even, or that kind of a thing. And he would keep talking to Sadanand, and they would keep collaborating and interacting that way for hours on end on that street, with the noise of the cars and all going by, until they arrived at a point where it was just the tone that my father needed. So what was it? It's a two-way street. It was an injection of my father's thought and Sadanand ji's ability to be able to put that thought or that tone or sound vision onto the instrument. And so that has to be put together. So most tabla makers have that ability to do that, provided a tabla player himself sits with them and guides them through his needs or her needs as a tabla player. So that's an important part of having a good tabla made. So yes, I've seen Anindo Bhai, Swapanda, Shubhankar Bhai, Yogesh Bhai, all these guys, they actually sit with the tabla maker and they walk through the tuning process with the tabla wala. So that happens. I, on the other hand, I would have a different issue. I travel so much, and I'm here while the tabla maker is in India, and so I rely on someone like, say, I used to rely on Sadanand ji, and now recently on someone like Haridas Vatkar, to have a certain idea of what my tabla should be like. And then they would make it, at least Sadanand ji used to make it and then let me know that the tabla was ready. Then I would go, or he would come to the house, and then we would sit through the final touches of the tuning. Haridas ji just does the same thing. He comes to the house and we sit and we work on it. Now this is something that they did for me. It was a blessing. They didn't need to do that. They are masters of their art form. And for me to expect that they would come to my home and work with me is far beyond my ability to understand why they would actually do that. I should be the one going to them and sitting with them like my father did with Sadanand ji. But these days it's a little difficult with people swarming over and wanting photos and autographs and so on. So there are distractions. So they come over and they understand that, and I thank them for being so so accommodating to me. So that's what I would say. To a key for a good tabla is to be personally involved in the process of its creation. And so then it's made as you would like it to be. So that's one thing. Now, the tone of the baya, again, that is the chain reaction to the first question, is if I have the baya